Hi guys, it's Amber. This is a Lovely Yarn podcast, a podcast all about my knitting and fiber hobbies. So welcome to my first podcast episode of the year. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone who followed along with my Vlogmas. I'm feeling very impressed that I actually filmed every day of December except, leading up to Christmas. I did not film Christmas Day because I wanted to be able to just focus on Christmas Day. But I had a ton of fun doing that. My daughter Lily also really enjoyed doing that as well. So yeah, it was fun, and I will probably do it again in the future. So today is January 24th, and I just cut my hair off, and it's January, guys. Like, I legit struggle this time of year. I was sailing along real well. We had a really nice fall. It was really had a fun December. And then January 2nd, I woke up with a scratchy throat. And we had, I got sicker as the day went on. And, we had the virus again. Although I have to say this time it was much better than the first time. We had the original virus, which took me 6 weeks to recover from. But I don't want to stay there, but I'm just saying that to say that it turned into a sinus infection for me. Like, my family, everybody was better within 5 days. And I actually didn't feel that bad until it went right here, which is kind of my MO. That is my weak area of my body. So even getting a simple cold that most people would just deal with the annoying cold symptoms for a few days and then recover from it, even that typically will throw me into like all this sinus inflammation and stuff. So it's a pain in the butt. And so I spent the first 2 weeks of January feeling very yuck, And it's been 3 weeks, and I'm still not back to my normal energy level yet, and I still have some sinus congestion, which is why I haven't really filmed, and it's also why I haven't been able to get outside. One of the things I know that's really helpful, over the years, and I know this is a knitting podcast, but I know other people deal with this as well, like the winter blues or whatever, to varying degrees. But some of the things that have really helped me over the years, one of them is getting out into nature every day that I possibly can, even if the weather is less than stellar. The other one is exercise, like exercising almost every day. And then there's things like eating well, making sure I get enough sleep. Well, my whole routine was completely disrupted when I got sick because that was the one thing, like the first time I had it, I just slept the entire week away. I hardly remember the first week. This time I couldn't sleep. And that continued into the whole sinus infection thing as well. I think in that 2 weeks worth of time, I got maybe 3 decent nights of sleep. So, that wasn't good. Another thing is I wasn't able to get outside because I wasn't feeling well, and it's been really frigidly below zero cold here. And then exercise. I wasn't able to exercise, and I'm still not back to my normal cardiovascular condition, which it's, my sister and I work out together, and it's always like frustrating. We've talked about this before, how it takes such a long time to build up your stamina and endurance, and then such a short amount of time for it to disappear. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to be nice to myself and to be patient with myself. But today I was just like feeling like super restless because we have a lot of snow. We've got probably 18 inches, and we're getting up to 4 more today. And I kind of get a little claustrophobic, And so I was feeling really restless, and I'm like, I'm going to cut my hair. And my hair was down to here. It was pretty long. So I cut off quite a bit. And I think I do this a lot in January. So yeah, cut my hair off. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and film a podcast because it's been a while. It's been since that vlog that I filmed right after Christmas. And then I think it was November the last time I actually filmed an actual sit-down knitting podcast. So I'm going to start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing, first of all, this shawl. This is my favorite shawl that I have ever knitted. I love it so much. It's the Color Craze by Tammy Gore. This was also, I believe this was the first time I ever did brioche too. So if you're interested in learning brioche, this was a good one. It was not, I don't remember it being stressful because there's just like little sections of brioche in it. Is there another one? Yeah, right there. So there's, I think, 4 sections of brioche. But, and this is also a good one if you have yarn minis, like mini skeins, because that is what I did with this one. I just used up my minis. I used up minis for this. And so it was a lot of fun. And it was also very interesting because, I'll take it off here real quick. Anyway, see? Lots of different colors. And it was really fun. Kept my interest. That's one thing about, like, sometimes I get bored in my knitting. Oh my gosh, like this cardigan, which took me so long to do because I was so bored with it. But this one was so much fun. I want to knit another Color Craze. Just so much fun. And then this cardigan that I'm wearing is the Georgetown cardigan. So it is by Hannah Fettig. This took me a couple of years to finish because I was so bored knitting it. I knitted it in pieces. So I did a lot of it flat. Plus it's just gray yarn. I was bored. So it was a real act of perseverance to get through this knit. But now that I did, I'm really glad that I finished. And I'm also glad I took the time. So I took the time, I made this shawl collar wider than it was supposed to be. I don't remember by how much, but I feel like quite a bit. And I'm so glad I did that. And another thing that I'm glad I did was I'm glad that I made the cuffs on the sleeves longer because I like the look of the folded cuff. So I was glad that even though I just wanted to get it done, I pushed through and I did those things knowing that I would appreciate them in the end. Yeah, so I'm going to put this back around my neck because I have my window cracked a little bit. I'm trying to get some fresh air in the house. I do that in the winter because fresh air is so important. You might hear my dog. Her bed is like right over there, that way. And she's chewing on a bone. So, all right, so let me get into my finished objects. These are my knits since the last time I podcasted, which like I said was in November. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to remember the names of everything, and I didn't take the time to look it up. So I will just look it up after the fact and put it down below in the description. So I'm going to do my best to remember things. But okay, so you guys know I've mentioned Tara from A Loop Through a Loop in the past. Her podcast is amazing. Check it out. Anyway, she inspired me when I saw her knitted headband. And this was something that you guys would have seen me working on during my Vlogmas videos. This is called the Two Twisted Headband. I think that's what it's called. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I knit this using my fingering weight scrap that I got from Cozy Posy Yarn Co. in the birch colorway. And then a strand of the silk mohair. And this is the same yarn combination that my no frill sweater is knit in. So I knit this up. I don't know, let me see if I can get it on without the mirror. So yeah, it's just, okay. I think it's adorable. I love the twist. And I had no idea how that was going to be completed. Like, I've never done, what is this called? Mobius twist or something like that. I had never done that before in knitting. And so I was like, I don't know how how I'm going to make this little twist in the end. But it's like really interesting. You basically fold the flat pieces because you knit it flat and then you fold the ends over on themselves and then you stick them together and you stitch them together like that. So very interesting. I keep looking out the window because there is the snow's moving in again. I was wondering, because I knew we were supposed to get like 4 inches today, and I'm like, when's it gonna come in? Because I have to be somewhere this evening. Yesterday coming home from church was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Did I say horrendous? The roads were horrendous. I like snow. I much rather have snow in the winter. If it's gonna be, I much rather have snow because we have gray skies a lot, so the snow brightens it up, but I don't like the bad roads. But anyway, Two Twisted Headbands. Like I said, I held a fingering weight yarn and a mohair, and I don't remember what brand the mohair was. It was maybe, I'm thinking it was a Drops. Does Drops? I think Drops has a mohair blend. I think that's what it was. Yes, I'm almost certain. I mean, this did hardly used any yarn at all, so I'm excited. I'm gonna make more of these because they're so cute. And this is double knitted, guys. Did you ever double knit before? I had never double knitted. So that's 2 things I had never done before. The twist and the double knitting. And double knit, like, it looks like this is a tube. Do you see what I'm saying? It looks like this should be a tube. Like, I should be able to pull this apart and it would be like a tube, but it's not. It's knitted flat back and forth, but it's knitted using double knitting, which is basically all that is knit, slip a stitch, knit, slip a stitch, knit the whole way across, and then you turn around and you do the same thing on the way back. Maybe you do the opposite. But anyway, it's super easy. And I was like, oh, so this is what double knitting is. But this, I feel like this would make such a nice gift for someone. And oh, also, if you sell your hand knit items, like, I don't really sell my stuff anymore because you know why. If you're a knitter, I don't even have to explain why. But if you were going to sell your items, this would be a good project because it's not too much of a time or yarn commitment. So yeah, super cute. And I will be knitting more of those. Oh, here it is. It is a Drops mohair. It's Drops Kids Silk. Okay, so there you go. I really like Drops, the Drops brand of yarn. It's hard to get here in the United States. I like the Drops Air, which I've talked about many times. It's what I'm actually using to make my Drama sweater. Let me pull this. I'm not even going to show you this today or talk about it really because I haven't done anything more on this, but this was made using Drops Air. This is my second Drama sweater. This one's going to be identical as the first, only bigger. The first one was for my daughter. This one is for me. But anyway, I've had a hard time finding the Drops Air. Usually I order it from Wool Warehouse in the UK. But I think it was in December I got on to look for not either of these colors, but a different color, and a lot of their colors were out of stock. So that might just be because, you know, right now a lot of things are out of stock. I'm not sure. Because I didn't really knit with it a lot back before, like, 3 years prior. I didn't really knit with it a lot, so I don't know if it was hard to get it back then as well, or if that's just a relatively new thing. All right, next. What was next? I think these were next. Okay, this is a bag from Olivia of This Handmade Life. And these socks, I've shown you guys these socks before. I don't even have my sock blockers here with me. I should have brought them up. Maybe I'll go grab them. I'm gonna go grab them. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so here we go. This is just a ribbed sock. I didn't use a pattern. This is for my husband. I just put one on the blocker. Can you see my mistake? Probably not, but here on the heel, I started the heel and I forgot to switch to the contrast color, the brown. And so I did probably 2 or 3 rows of the heel in the green color, and before I noticed, and I was like, yeah, I'm not ripping back. No, they go on the feet. It'll be fine. So these are done in Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. Let me see if I have the colors. Oh, yeah. You know what? I do, but they don't have color names. Yes, they do. They do. They have color names. So the green is Dill Heather. And the brown is Farmhouse Heather. I'm just going to say, okay, so Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. It's a very soft sock yarn, but it's not my favorite to knit with because personally I find it a little splitty. So yeah, and I think to me it always feels a bit thinner than other sock yarns, but I don't know. I don't know that that's true. It just feels a bit splitty when I work with it. And I've knit multiple pairs of socks with this Stroll Tweed. So I don't know. I mean, I use it because it looks nice. I mean, they look really nice and they feel really nice now that they're done, but they're just not my favorite. It's not my favorite yarn to knit socks with. So these are done. And like I said, this was just a ribbed. I cast on, I think 64 stitches on a size 0 9-inch circular, which is what I use for my socks. I love my 9-inch circulars so much. I love them. And then I just messed around with like the striping here. But when I got into the actual pattern of the sock, I just did a 3x1 rib. And everything else was my normal, like a slip stitch. Actually, this is Modified Eye of Partridge, I think, on the heel. And then I always do the decreases on the toe and then Kitchener stitch them shut. I have no idea what that kind of toe is officially called, but it's what I do. So yes, those are Brad socks. I finished them actually, I think I finished them the week. So that first week I was sick before it turned into a sinus infection. I actually had lots of energy and motivation. So I was like, I'm isolated because, you know, you can't go anywhere. I'm like, but I have energy, so I'm going to knit. I knit so much that week. I read a lot that week. I mean, I didn't have a ton of energy, but I'm just saying for being sick, I didn't feel that bad. And then it settled into my sinuses and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do, like I lost my desire to do anything when it turned into the sinus infection. So these were finished up within the first couple of days of January because I had lots of time to knit on them and they were almost done anyway when the new year started. So I told Brad though, and that my people know this. When I finish something, I will give it to them, but I'll say, but I need it back until I podcast. I just had a message come up on my screen and I wonder if that interferes. I think I'm going to stop and make sure it doesn't interfere. That's one of the things about filming on my phone. I don't know, but it's okay. It's easy for me and it's portable. And so I do it. I use my phone to film. All right, so that's my first pair of, I actually have quite a few socks. My second pair of socks that I finished, oh my gosh, I have more finished objects than I thought I did. Didn't realize I'm missing a pair. Oh, here they are. Okay. These are for somebody, but I'm not going to say who in case they watch this podcast. I don't think they do. But just in case, I'm not going to say who they're for. They were supposed to be a Christmas gift. That didn't happen. I didn't knit a whole lot in December because we were just so busy having fun, doing other stuff. So yeah, I'm going to give these to the person very soon because it's hard. When I finish something for someone, I just want to give it to them right away. But I finished these also during that week of sickness, that first week. And so here, this is just using a self-striping yarn from, let me look at the tag, Regia. And the color, it's the Office color line. I don't even know why I do this because it's backwards for you guys and I don't know how to fix that. Anyway, I like Regia yarn. I think it's a thicker, sturdy wool for socks. So I really like it. But yeah, just plain vanilla. And I tried to match, no, I did not try to match these ones up. That's the next pair. These are definitely not matched up. And I did a slip stitch heel, which I think is my favorite heel because first of all, it's easy to do and easy to remember. And it gives a really nice reinforcement in my opinion. So yeah, that is my second pair of finished socks. And I am so excited that I can wrap these up now and gift them to the person that I have been wanting to. You know what? I'm just going to say, because by the time I get this video posted, honestly, knowing myself, I'm probably going to go today and give these to that person because they live nearby. And I've just been excited. I almost took them yesterday and then I thought, no, I really want to wait till I podcast. These are my niece, one of my nieces. So she's very knit worthy. I knit her. This is the second pair of socks that I've knit for her. The first pair was a very, very bright banana colored yellow sock with like very bright. I think that was 2 years ago. Maybe that was just last year. But she has since, she's gotten older and her color, not that she doesn't wear those still, but like her everyday colors are much more muted now. So I thought these would go well with her outfits that she wears. So those are going to go to my niece. I hope she loves them. All right. Okay, third pair of finished socks. These are another pair of just plain vanilla, but I'm kind of excited now. I have to preface this with saying, I know my middle son does not watch. I don't think any of my kids watch my podcast. Let me put it that way. But it is possible that people who know them watch. So if I ever show anything that is for one of my children, please do not repeat that to them. I threw around whether or not I should even give the story behind these socks, for that reason. And then I thought, oh no, I want to, because this is going to be a special thing that I'm going to be working on for the next 6 months or so. All right, so I got another pair. They are done. I love this yarn. These are the ones that I made match. They match almost exactly. They're probably off just a tiny bit. Yeah, well, you can see at the toe they are. Okay. So, you know what? I keep getting these messages from my friends about the thing that's going on tonight. So I am actually going to pause this again and I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. That is a smart thing to do, isn't it? I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. I need to try to remember that for the future. I love this yarn so stinking much. Where's the tag? Okay, this is all I've got left of it. I always have a ton of yarn left when I finish making socks with this like Regia, and this is not Regia. What is this even called? Oh, this is an opal. I cannot read anything on this label because it's all in German. Yeah, so it's made in Germany. I will try to like decipher the foreign language as much as possible and put down the details in my description below. But I bought this yarn off of the same Etsy shop I buy almost all of this type of commercial sock yarn from. I have mentioned this sock or this shop multiple times in the past, so I'll link to the shop too down below. But anyway, okay, so here's what I'm doing. So my son Ian is a senior this year in high school, and he's going to be starting college in the fall. And last week we were up visiting a college that, well, the only college that he's currently looking at. And but before that, even like I think I started thinking about this. Actually, I've knit, Oh my gosh, I started these socks the first week I was sick. Yeah, so that's how fast I knit a pair. I'm impressing myself. See what happens when you have to isolate and you don't feel too bad in the beginning? I got this idea that I want to knit him a pair of socks every month, or as much as I can, between now and when he goes off to college. Makes me kind of sad to think of that. It's hard having kids growing up, guys. It's so hard. Anyway, so I kind of want to do a box of socks, but not for myself, and I'll give it to him. So I'm making sure that all the sock yarns I choose are superwash, because I don't want him to have to like be worrying about hand washing socks, you know. But this is his first pair for his box of socks. You can tell these sock blockers are for my size because it's kind of big. And by the way, these are just very simple sock blockers. I got these from Judy of the Autumn Acorn. So size 0, cast on 64 stitches, just vanilla with a slip stitch heel. First pair. And I have another pair that I'm working on. So I think I actually knit these within a week, which is really fast for me. And I have to say, this yarn, where did it go? I feel like it's thicker. It's fingering weight, but it feels almost like a sport weight. So I probably could have even went down on my stitch count, but I think it'll be fine. So yeah, these are for Ian. Again, if you know him in real life, please do not say anything to him. It will ruin the surprise and he'll be very sad. Okay. I think I have one object left. One object. I think I have one finished object left to show you guys before I show you what I'm working on currently. Okay, so this is exciting because I don't really wear flashy colors, right? I've said this before. I'm not a fan. Like, if you look in my closet, it's mostly navy blue or various shades of blue, light colors like this light pink color, some corals, which are probably the brightest color I wear, but even those aren't like overly bright in my opinion. Gray, black. But in the winter, I get that something happens and I just want to knit with all the bright colors. I think it's to balance all the gray I'm seeing out of my window. So this hat is called the Oslo Hat. I'm sure you've probably heard of it before. It's by Petite Knit. And this is actually yarn that I got from my friend Jody of Flower Hill Fleeces. This was not even, I think it's, you know what? It did have a color name. I was going to say, I don't think this had a color name. I think it was just like a one-off she had. It's Red Raspberry. That's what it's called. And it's a superwash merino DK weight yarn. So this is the Oslo Hat. And you make like this really long brim. Like, this is a tube here, but it's knit in the round. It's knit really long, the brim, and then you fold it up and you gosh, I can't even remember. Was this a provisional cast on? I just knit this. I cannot remember. I don't know how I feel about knitting it. I don't know that it lays real nice. Like, I feel like there might have been a better way to do this. And so I was like, is it just me? Did I do this wrong? Or is this how it's supposed to be? But it's okay. It's all right. It makes a quadruple thick brim is what it does. I love this color. Oops, here, let me get it on right. I could have made it a little longer, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of super slouchy hats. And so it doesn't really have, it just has a little bit of extra there. I was so this was 231 yards of this yarn. This is what I had left. So I was getting down, before I started the decreases, I was trying to figure out, okay, how much yarn do I have left? Am I going to have enough to do, like, how many more rounds can I do before I get really close to not having enough yarn to finish this hat? You know, those kind of games we play as knitters. And so I had made the decision when to decrease it, and it worked out. And I don't even have that much left, so that's awesome. But isn't that color fantastic for this time of year? It's so bright. I love it. I don't know. I don't know that I would I wear a sweater this color? I actually think I may wear a sweater this color right now, this time of year. Because just looking at this hat on the camera, it makes me feel happy. Because it's so bright. So it feels very cheery to me. Does anyone else experience that with their knitting? You know, sometimes I'm just in the mood to knit like plain. Actually, plain things are more practical for me. But I feel like anymore, I want to knit more color. And sometimes it's like subdued colored. Like this is lots of color. It's just very subdued. This is actually very close to my color palette. If you look in my closet, you see a lot of these colors, just a little bit more blue. You don't see this hanging up in my closet, but I like it. And it's a hat. So it's like not a big color commitment. It's just a hat. So hats, socks, bring on the brightness this time of year. So yes, Oslo Hat by Petite Knit. It is a paid for pattern. But it is a hat I would knit again. And I did knit it super fast. Like I said, I'm just not sure about how this whole brim is done. I still am wondering if I did something wrong. Because it just seems a little weird the way it's done. I don't know. So yes, I'll be happy now that I've podcasted about this. I can actually wear it, so that's awesome. I do recommend that pattern. Other than the whole brim thing, I'm not, like I said, I'm just not sure about that. Okay, so that is the last of my whips, is at least the ones that are like active, or my finished object. Okay, so those were my finished objects. Now I am going to show you, I only have 2 active whips. I have, actually that's not true, I have 3. I have that Drama sweater that I already showed you when I was showing you the Drops Air yarn. And I had not been in the mood to knit that, and I think it's because I'm on the body and it's that charcoal black color and it's, you know, boring. You know, same problem I had with this sweater. So, but I have actually been inspired to work on that again. So I'm going to be picking that up again soon. But I want to show you my 2 active whips. The ones I'm working on right now a lot. The first one is in this beautiful bag by Amy of Noble Character Crafts. I got this on her Etsy shop when she updated, I think it was before Christmas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about this in Vlogmas. I think it actually came during Vlogmas. I might have shown it in one of my Vlogmas films. But I had set my alarm because I wanted to get one so badly. And I missed. That's what I have to do. If I know there's going to be a shop update for someone, I set my alarm so that to go off like a minute before the update. That way I can jump on there. Because sometimes stuff goes fast. Okay. I alluded to a cowl that I was going to be starting when I did my Vlogmas videos, and my friend Jody, I had mentioned that my friend Jody, who owns Flower Hill Fleeces, she had come into the coffee shop that I work at the one day, and she had on this cowl, and I absolutely loved it. And she said that it was a test knit. It had been a test knit for Cozy Up Knits, and she told me the name of it, and it's the Grande double wrap. So appropriate for working in a coffee shop, right? And it's by Cozy Up Knits. So it's the Grande double wrap with a shot of brioche. So I have been working on this. I started this, I started this last week? I think last week. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. I just started the brioche 2 nights ago and I haven't worked on it since then. But let me show you what I have. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, yeah, so it's knit flat with a provisional cast on. And then when you get everything knitted, you knit the 2 sides together, and then you have this double wrap cowl, which I'm assuming that's why it's called a Grande double wrap. The yarn I'm using, these 2 yarns. This blue one is from Bluebird Yarn Company, and I actually won this along with another skein. It was a combo, and the combo was called Autumn Skies, and I won this in a giveaway several years ago. But this is 100% merino superwash, and it's single ply. And the skein it came with was a contrast to this. It was a slightly lighter color, but it wasn't like a huge contrast like this is with this. And when I was on Ravelry looking at the pattern, I noticed, I think Jody was actually one of the people that had said that it would really be beneficial to pick 2 greatly contrasting colors for this cowl. So I looked in my stash and I had some lighter colors, but oops, I didn't have any single ply. I really don't have a lot of single ply. Like the skein that came with this was single ply. And then I had some pink single ply that I had dyed myself, but I didn't like the 2 together. And I just really loved Jody's cowl, and I thought this is something I'm gonna really want to wear. So I want to make it something that I really like. So I ended up getting on Madeline Tosh, and I ordered this, and this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light, and the colorway is Horn, and it just has some very light speckles of navy, orange, like, yeah, mostly navy and orange. So it goes really, really nice with this. And I'm really glad I did that. I was trying to just I really wanted to use the yarn from my stash, but I also really wanted to make something that I really liked. So yeah, this is what I have so far. And like I said, I just started the brioche the other night, and I only worked on it that one night, so I haven't gotten much done with that. Let me show you this cute little progress keeper. I think I showed these before. This is from Sarah. I forget her shop name. I will link it below. But she makes these little, is this polymer clay? It's super light. This came with 2 leaves and a little sock. Adorable. Totally my style. So yes, I'm enjoying this. This is super soft. I like single ply yarn. I don't know why. I guess all my fingering weight, this is a fingering weight yarn, and no, it's not. It's DK. Is it DK? Did I say it was DK? No, it's fingering weight. Most of my fingering weight is sock yarn, so it's got a higher twist. But I really like how cozy the single ply is. Okay, so that is that project. And then my other whip is a pair of socks. And look at this bag. Oh my goodness. Is that focusing? Is that adorable or what? This is by Olivia of This Handmade Life. I have multiple bags of hers. She's one of my favorite bag makers. Her bags are so nice. Like, this one's really sturdy. I love it. It's got a little leather pole on it. This is my second pair of socks for Ian. I'm whispering because it's a secret. And also because I'm filming in my bedroom and our house is very small. The living room is right outside the door. And earlier today he was out there reading. I don't know if he's out there or not. Okay, so this is a Regia yarn in the office color. I guess that's just like the office color. That's just one of their, I don't even know what you call it. That's not the name, the color of this. It's just like the how would I even, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay. So this is all I got. I just finished the heel flap. I need to start turning the heel on this, but yeah, this is another one I bought on that Etsy shop that I buy almost all my commercial yarn off of when I'm making socks. And again, another sturdy, thick yarn, 64 stitches on size 0. Just doing a plain vanilla the whole way around. Because when you have self-striping, I just want to see the stripes. I don't want to see any pattern. That's just my personal opinion. So when I'm doing self-striping yarn, I just do a vanilla. Maybe a rib, maybe, but I don't even think I've ever done that. I think I always just stick to the vanilla. So yeah, that's it. But this bag is so pretty. And I know Olivia, look how nice and thick and sturdy it is. And the fabric is so cozy looking. Is that not? I just want to crawl into this fabric, actually. Don't you want to crawl into that fabric and have either coffee or a very strong cup of black tea with almond milk and honey? That's what that is to me. And then a book, and you just wrote some letters to your friends, and you're going to make them really happy when they go to the mailbox and find happy mail in there from a real person and not just some generic letter from a company or a bill. I just love it. And then the little cozy cottage. Oh, it's so sweet. I love this fabric. It's this kind of fabric that makes me want to learn how to sew. Like, I can sew really basic things, but like, I just don't really have to make time for it. But when I see fabric like this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to practice sewing and sew fabric like this. But then, you know, I can support people like Olivia and Amy who know how to sew and do a fantastic job. So yes, so that's it then, I think. I did want to mention 2 podcasts that I just recently found. So one I found during Vlogmas, and I forget her name, but the name of her podcast is Finnish Knitting Stories. Some of you probably know who I'm talking about. She did Vlogmas. She lives in Finland, and I find her very interesting. I find her projects very interesting. She owns a yarn shop as well. I really like watching her, and she puts podcasts out quite frequently. So check her out. And then the other podcast I literally just watched for the first time last night was Annie of Knit and Burl. That's the name. Again, I'm linking this stuff down below in case I'm butchering the names. I watched her most recent podcast. I think it was most recent. It was filmed 2 weeks ago. I watched it last night. Oh my gosh, this blanket she's knitting. It's the pattern by Molly of A Homespun House. And I had been thinking about knitting a blanket like that with my mini skeins, but I hadn't committed to it yet. And I saw Annie's yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. But all of her projects that she was showing were gorgeous. I'm gonna really like her podcast. I can tell. You know how you can just tell sometimes? Like, sometimes you'll put on a podcast and within the first few minutes you're like, no, this is not for me. Not because there's anything wrong with the podcast or the podcaster. You just know there's just not a connection, you know? But then other times you put on podcasts and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, there's a connection here. There's something special. You know, I've mentioned those podcasts that I feel that with. I mention them to you guys because I want you to have the chance to go check them out and see if you have that special something with them as well. But anyway, I was watching Annie's last night, and I didn't even get it through the whole episode. I still have, most times when I watch podcasts, I watch them. It takes me several days to get through one episode, which kind of stinks because I think of things I want to comment about, and then I think, well, okay, I'm going to try to remember that for when I finish watching it so I can make my comment all at once, but then I always forget. So I always think I should just comment as I'm watching it, but then there is a possibility that I may comment 5 times then, which honestly, they're not going to care. And it's actually going to help their video, because the more interaction you have on the video, I'm pretty sure the more YouTube boosts the video. So I should just comment as I think of things. But anyway, go check Annie out. Knit and Burl. I think that's what it is. I'll link it below. Beautiful projects. I love her. Like, she's just calm. I just like her. I like her a lot. I follow her on Instagram too. And I never watched her podcast yet. And I don't even know, I think it's a relatively new podcast. But I don't know how many episodes that she has on there, because like I said, I just watched part of, I'm over halfway through her latest episode, and I'm really enjoying it. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, if you wouldn't mind just hitting the thumbs up, and if you're a new watcher and you have not subscribed and you feel that special something with me, then maybe you would like to subscribe. And as always, I always welcome the comments. I love getting them, and I do try to respond to as many of them as I can. And it's just really, it's fun to read comments from you guys. That was one of the best things about Vlogmas. I felt like I really got to know some of my viewers. Like, there were some that commented frequently, and I was like, I feel like they're my family now. So that was pretty awesome. All right, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to clean up my mess here and get on with my day. I have some bills I need to pay and a checkbook to balance, you know, all that kind of stuff. The stuff we do in our everyday life that is not always the funnest, but it is necessary things. They're necessary things to do. So thank you so much for taking time to come and join me and watch a Lovely Yarn podcast. I appreciate it more than you know. Take care, and God bless you all.